Tajuddeen the Master. Hold fast. You need to fear nothing either here or hereafter. Saints are direct witnesses to the glory of Godhead and the rewards of life lived in the pure spirit of the holy texts. They are a necessary phenomenon because, as though owing to some inherent twist in man's nature, mankind had insisted on and persisted in misinterpreting even the simplest of holy teachings and perverting them in practice. Any and every great religion preaches total and absolute dedication and love to God and His creatures and a pious and truthful life as the inevitable means of realizing the truth of Godhead. But there is hardly any religion which did not degenerate into an insincere adherence to the external show of it, hatred for fellow creatures and impious life of untruth. It is to correct this that saints are in constant need to appear amidst us to salvage as many people as possible to the proper path. Religion lives and rests on the shoulders of saints. Tajuddin Sarkar is one of the foremost saints of Islam. He proved himself a pillar of piety when he declared on one occasion that he will make 1,25,000 saints before leaving this world. We know that saints do not die but are immortal, and even their tombs are potent spiritual forces capable of inspiring and guiding true seekers. This statement implies that till a 1,25,000 of his devotees become potent saints, his tomb will retain its power. To make a saint of a man is no joke. Merely inspiring faith through general and oral preaching might make people believing, but to make them wholeheartedly dedicate themselves to the spiritual quest against all bondages needs the constant care of a perfect saint. Tajuddin Sarkar was one such, and it is interesting to know how well he rendered this duty to his disciples and thereby to the society at large. One Abdul Aziz was in search of a spiritual guide. Many peers tried to make a disciple of him, but he did not easily submit to them. One day he saw a saint in his dream and described him to one of his friends. The latter told him that the description agreed with Hazrat Tajuddin Baba of Nagpur and recounted the miracles that took place at the lunatic asylum and at Sakartara. Then Abdul Aziz earned to meet Tajuddin Baba and went to Waki in 1908. When Aziz arrived, Tajuddin Sarkar was sitting under a tree. On seeing Aziz, Tajuddin Sarkar picked up a blade of grass from the ground and inscribed with it the full name of Aziz on his own lap and smiled at him. Aziz wondered how the fakir knew his name. This incident developed spontaneous faith in him. He stayed for days at Waki, and he understood that by inscribing his name on lap, Tajuddin Sarkar accepted him as his spiritual child. That is, he agreed to be his spiritual guide or nurse. As days passed, his faith in the Baba grew intense. Tajuddin, in moments of spiritual exaltation or ecstasy, exhibited uncontrollable anger and even beat people. Devotees knew that the beating was really a form of blessing. On such occasion, the devotees took one pious lady, Mariam Bai Amma Sahib, before him. For on seeing her, he used to calm down. Aziz was the witness of one such of Huzur Tajuddin's moods. Tajuddin Sarkar was very angry and his face was aglow with a mysterious radiance. He did not calm down even though the pious lady was brought before him and in fact started beating her also. After a few moments he grew calm, went to Aziz and taking the latter's hand in his, recited the verse, "Whoever comes and becomes your disciple becomes a disciple of God himself. God's hand will ever be on such a disciple's hand. The hand of God will be there in the days to see. Even the one who takes Diksha or initiation today is your disciple. The hand of this Sheikh being yours is also benign. Thus the great saint accepted Aziz as his disciple and renamed his Naziruddin. Naziruddin stayed for a long time in the presence of Tajuddin. Later, he also became famous as a saint. How literally true and complete is Baba Saheb's teaching. One morning, Huzur Tajuddin was sitting at the main gate at Sakardara. He wore a long overall at that time. One Karim Baba went to him at about 5 p.m. and prostrated before him. Tajuddin asked him, "How do I look now?" Karim said, "You shine bright in the glory of God." Then Tajuddin Sarkar stripped himself completely naked and repeated the same question. Karim answered, "You shine in the majesty of God." Tajuddin then kept the hand leaves of his garment in Karim's hand and said, "Hold fast. You need fear nothing either here or hereafter." So saying, he wound the rest of the shirt around Karim's head. Then he put some sweetmeat in his hand and said, "This is the gift of marriage." Thus Tajuddin gave Karim a unique place among his disciples. Stranger still is the manner in which Baba Tajuddin blessed Fateh Muhammad Shah with sainthood. The latter came from Afghanistan and lived in a village mosque at Darwa in Yotmal district. He used to be immersed in meditation day and night, and he used to be in a mystic trance. It was said that Tajuddin had sent him there. Earlier he attended on Baba Tajuddin at the lunatic asylum. At that time, Tajuddin Baba once said regarding that cell in the asylum, "This place will never be vacant." His words came literally true. For when he left the asylum, he kept Fateh Shah there in his place and later too became a famous saint. After Tajuddin Baba left this world, Raja Raghoji Rao tried to get Fateh Shah also released from the asylum and prayed him to go over to Sakardara in the place of Baba Tajuddin. Fateh Shah replied, "That place should be approached on one's head. Do you wish to take me there so soon?" Superficially, the statement means that Tajuddin's place is so exalted that it amounts to blasphemy if one walks thither on his legs. Fateh Shah continued to live in the asylum till the end, and after his demise, his body was brought to Tajuddin's place. Perhaps Fateh Shah's words also signified this going of his to Tajabad, that is carried on the heads of his followers after death. He might also have meant that it is not possible for others to attain the exalted spiritual state of Tajuddin Baba before the falling off of one's body. Once Hazrat Hizamuddin wished that Tajuddin should take him as his disciple even while he was sitting at his own home. That night he saw Sarkar Tajuddin in his dream. The latter was seated near a tank of water and was washing his feet as Muslims do before performing namaz. The water in which he dipped his leg was illuminating every spot on which it fell. Next morning, Hizamuddin contemplated on the significance of his dream and concluded that Baba Tajuddin had accepted him as his disciple. However, later in the day, he approached the Baba and verbally expressed his wish. Immediately, Tajuddin Baba replied, "The meeting took place last night. Is it not enough?" Hizamuddin was surprised and overjoyed at his words. This time he made a silent petition. "Now that you have accepted me as your disciple, give me a sign of it." Immediately, Tajuddin Baba turned to him and said, "Evidence that will be given by Khwaja Hasan Nizami." Hazrat Nizami was a famous saint of Delhi, the pontiff of the seat of Khwaja Nizamuddin Chishti, a medieval Sufi saint. Hizamuddin was surprised to note that Tajuddin Baba was spiritually connected with Saint Nizami. But the next moment he was assailed by a doubt. Is Nizami, to whom Baba Tajuddin is directing me, equally a perfect saint? So he immediately thought of testing him. He wrote a letter to Delhi in a very ambiguous tone. I am ordered to become your disciple. Let me know when I should come to you. He did not sign it, nor did he mention his address therein. Yet after some days, he received a reply from Hazrat Nizami, which was follows. Nizamuddin, you come here in accordance with the order of Baba Tajuddin. Hazrat Nizamuddin's monthly festival falls on 17th of every month. Come and take the vow on that day. This letter confirmed the omniscience of Nizami and also his close alliance with Baba Tajuddin. He went to Delhi. When he entered the Dargah of Hazrat Nizamuddin, the first Nizami, the then pontiff of the shrine called him by his name without being introduced to him by anybody and said, Nizamuddin, have you come? Take the vow tomorrow morning. The next day he became the disciple of Nizami. One of the disciples of Huzur Baba who blossomed into a famous saint is Hazrat Khadar Valli Baba of Vijayanagaram, Andhra Pradesh. His pious parents descended of a royal family of Tiruchinapalli and they settled at Vijayanagaram. His paternal uncle is said to have lived as a fakir and endowed with miraculous powers at Visakhapatnam. Khadar Shah was born in 1900 and he seemed to be under divine protection since his infancy. He was mysteriously saved from ferocious cobra by a wild mongoose, and a house in which he was left sleeping escaped singularly from a fire that burned down all the neighboring huts. Everyone who was cruel to the boy suffered almost immediate retribution. As a boy, he was charmed by the tales of saints and godmen belonging to all religions. As a pupil of high school, he realized the futility of a mere bread-winning education and was convinced that spiritual perfection is the genuine object of life. He grew indifferent to play, school books, kinsfolk, and even to the comforts of his body. He spent most of the time pondering over the way of attaining spiritual perfection. His father, being of a religious bent, knew the stuff of which his boy was made and never interfered with him. A few years later, when a flourishing business firm tried to lure the boy with a tempting offer of a job, his father reminded him that he was destined for a different role in life. Later one day, he told Khadar Shah to offer 5 copper coins to 5 fakirs and to fulfill the vow he made to Baba Tajuddin and concluded, this evening I shall go away. Take good care of yourself. That evening, the pious old man passed away quite peacefully. Now Khadar Shah's mind was spinning to contact a perfect saint that could show him the way to inner perfection and was perplexed by the countless hypocrites that pretend to be masters of spiritual knowledge in the society. At that time, a devotee of Baba Tajuddin, one Hazrat Baba, visited Vijayanagaram to spread his master's message of divine love in that area. Khadar Baba heard his discourse and shortly after visited Nagpur. At first sight of the great saint, Khadar wondered how a mad, naked fakir like Baba Tajuddin, who heaped foulest abuse on his visitors, could be a master of spiritual wisdom. Tajuddin Baba went off driving his horse-drawn coach, heaping abuse on the crowds of devotees that ran after it. Khadar Shah stayed behind to answer nature's call and to finish his daily routine. When he was walking towards a secluded spot, Tajuddin mysteriously appeared before him and demanded, what is your doubt? Why do you falter like this? There is no scope for any doubts, and vanished mysteriously before he could pull himself together sufficiently. Next day, Khadar Baba, Hazrat Baba and other disciples were seated around Baba Tajuddeen. The latter, suddenly turning to Hazrat Baba, commanded him, "Lay a few stitches to that soft robe." Hazrat Baba at once went out to obey the order. Khadar Baba followed him and said, "Baba's order is cryptic. He means that a wealthy man, soft as the robe, is soon to arrive and that you have to receive him and say a few words of wisdom to him." Hazrat Baba could not understand how the Baba's words could ever be interpreted in that manner. But soon a wealthy man arrived in his car with precious gifts in silver plates. When Hazrat Baba received them and took him to Huzur Baba, the latter said to the disciple, "Can't you understand unless the visitor from Vijayanagaram, that is Khadar Shah, explains it?"